Field rolling off the pit lane onto the Auto Club Speedway of Southern California, a few pace laps away from the green in the TreatMyClock.com 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Among the drivers in the field, one who has had a lot of opportunities to win here, but has yet to take home the trophy, at least on the Nationwide Series side, is Bakersfield native Kevin Harvick. This is very high on his list of tracks for most starts without a win. He's been the runner-up here 3 times. He's been on the bad end of a few of those strategy things, sometimes where whatever the right call is, he's just been on the other side of it. And we'll see how today works for Kevin. He's our ESPN in-race reporter, and he's starting in 6th.
Kevin Harvick, Rusty Wallace up here in the booth. You got us?
And 4.
Buddy, we got an ESPN mailbag question that comes from AJ in North Dakota. He wants to know, does driving at a track so close to home provide extra pressure or extra incentive to win?
I think a little bit of both. Obviously, I like this racetrack in general, whether it was close to home or not. But when you have family and friends and people around, you want them to have a good time. So winning's always more fun.
Kevin, you know, there's a lot of drivers I was talking to today. They say they really like this old surface, the way it races, but it really seems like the seams on the racetrack are pretty challenging. How are you and your car getting through those seams?
Yeah, I try to stay off the seams as much as you can, but you got to cross them at some point, getting in and off the corner. So you do the best you can and try to find a line that works for your car, whether it's high or low. You have a lot of options here. So this is a really, really fun racetrack. And, you know, I think it says a lot about what the asphalt needs to be like and the way the tires wear out. So hopefully it's a good day for our tax player Chevy and we have some fun.
Hey, Kevin, you just got out of your Cup car just a little while ago in practice here in California. What did you learn in that practice that might help you in today's race?
I mean, the more laps you can run, the better. I think the Nationwide car has helped me get going this year and really be competitive on both sides and really be in tune with what's happening on the racetrack. So at a racetrack like this, I call it a rhythm racetrack, and you find little pieces of grip here and there that work for you, and you try to use them.
Okay, buddy, have a great race and bring it home up in the top there.
Thank you, guys.
Kevin Harvick, our ESPN in-race reporter, in the 3rd row for today's race, outside that row in the 6th position. Got some great high-definition onboard camera views for you today as they race in California. Ty Dillon has our Goodyear on board. Kevin Harvick with the Chevy on board. Trevor Bayne, the Advocare camera. And Regan Smith has our Sunoco on board. Joey Logano with the Ford EcoBoost camera. Dylan Kwasniewski, the Nationwide Insurance camera. Dakota Armstrong has our Fresh from Florida on board. And Kyle Busch, starting in the back, has our Toyota onboard camera. And as you watch the TreatMyClock.com 300, invite you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced coverage today from Auto Club Speedway. Live race views, chat, and leaderboard at NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Well, if you were a Vegas-type person, I know we're not in Vegas for this race. We're not far from it, though, and you were the betting type, you'd be picking one of the Joe Gibbs Racing drivers because they have won 9 consecutive races at this track.
Yeah, it'd be hard to bet against them. I think I'd probably bet on the guy from Vegas, though.
Tell you what, those guys got some extra incentive, too. It was Toyota and TRD, Toyota Racing Division, being located right here in California. You always hear about those guys wanting to show off. Got a lot of fans out here. And this is their home turf right here, guys.
Well, let's talk about the Joe Gibbs guys as they get set to go. We'll start with Vince Welch.
Added to the fact that Kyle Busch will be starting from the back, he and his crew chief Adam Stevens were not happy with their race car in the final practice, so they made significant changes after that last session. And then because of their tech issues, they had to make more changes to the car to satisfy the inspection needs. So right now, Kyle and his crew chief Adam Stevens aren't sure exactly what they've got. One thing is for sure, they're as anxious as we are to see if Kyle has a car capable of winning here for the 7th time. Should be fun. Let's check in now with Dave Burns.
Kyle's teammate Matt Kenseth knows that Kyle's going to be good. How does he know that? Because Kyle told him. Kyle said, if you're leading at lap 25, watch out because I'm coming by you. Now, Matt reminded me that Kyle will have 6-lap fresher tires based on the fact that he didn't take any qualifying runs. Matt believes he has a car that can win. He starts 2nd today. Jamie Little?
Well, today has been a morale-boosting day for Elliott Sadler and the 11 team. Earlier today, he captured the first pole with Joe Gibbs Racing. Now, in order to get that first win with this team, Elliott said the sun needs to remain out because for him, the hotter and slicker the track, the better his chances. Now, keep in mind, it has been 50 long races since Elliott Sadler has been to victory lane. And Alan, you can only imagine he is hungry.
Hungry is a very modest description of how badly Elliott Sadler would love to win today. So Sadler on the pole, choosing the outside lane. Matt Kenseth will be to his inside, and lined up behind Sadler will be Joey Logano in the Penske 22.
Guys, done a good job all weekend. We got a really good car. Had good speed in that first round this morning. We just got beat by a little bit at the end, but nothing we can't overcome. Have good pit stops. Let us know what you need. We'll get you fixed up. We'll be there at the end. Let's have some fun today.
Good luck today, guys. Take some names.
Yeah, I know one thing that they're concerned about is tires. Joey had some tire problems in the practice earlier today, and with his Cup car blew out 2 of them. Actually, 8 tires were cut down in that practice.
So Joey Logano lined up on the outside of row 2, a 2-time winner here at this racetrack in recent times. Beautiful look down on this speedway from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
Tell you, one of the problems, I've been watching a lot of these guys, this track being so old and the surface being so slick, they've really got the air pressure down on the left side of those tires, and I really think that low air pressure has really blew a lot of these tires out. They got to be careful with that, especially on restarts and the start of this race.
Added a lap before the start. Looks like they're checking for some debris that might have been dropped over in turn number 2, and in fact, one of the cleanup vehicles is zipping down the inside of the backstretch right now, having a look for that. So we'll go racing in one more lap. 2-mile track around, 300 miles. Doing the math, that should come out to 150 laps, give or take a green-white checker at the end. Usually see a late caution in this one. So we'll keep that in mind. And as you look at that pit window, fuel mileage sometimes comes to be a factor in deciding these races here also.
Yeah, as it does at a lot of these bigger racetracks. But one thing, I talked to some of the crew chiefs earlier today. This track's really hard on tires. So they have 4 sets of tires they can put on besides the ones they start the race on. And they're going to probably at some point, if there's a lot of cautions, have to save a set of tires to put on late in the race because they mean so much.
As in this race last year, Kyle Busch took his final set of tires at lap 95, then came in and just topped off the fuel at lap 112 when another caution waved. And that was the winning strategy. But as we talked about just a little bit ago, what's been the winning strategy has been different each of the last 3 years.
Alan, you were talking about fuel just a little while ago. I mean, one thing you can do at this racetrack is save fuel. I talked to Kevin Harvick earlier, and he told me, and Brad Keselowski also, he said, man, you really feel the draft in the front straightaway right here at California Speedway. And that's something you really don't feel unless you're at Daytona or Talladega or a track like that. But they do feel that here. And when they come off turn 4 and they got to save a little fuel, they can back off that gas pedal a little bit and not lose anything because that draft's pulling them along. So don't be surprised if they really stretch that 41 to 44 laps a little farther than that. These cars can get up close to 5 miles per gallon, and under green hard racing, you're talking about 4.5 miles a gallon.
Elliott Sadler in that 11 car, bringing the field back around to the start.
All right, bud. Good job on the pole today. I'll think positive all day. Let us know how the car is. We'll do everything we can for you in here, bud. Good luck. 10-4, man. Let's go get him.
Last win for Elliott Sadler was over a year ago. In fact, about a year and a half ago. So he's looking for one today here in California. Pace car is off. Remember, Kyle Busch starting at the back, Sadler and Matt Kenseth at the front. We're underway in California. Fanning out 3 wide up front. Harvick in the 5 to the outside for the race lead.
You see Kevin Harvick up there right now with all that confidence. Just got out of his Cup car. He knows
got
that
one in the wall, Rusty.
good.
Got a crash, turn 3. Caution is out. 55, Jamie Dick.
Everybody get her fired.
Well, you can see the right rear tire is blown out on that car. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. It looked like he was struggling a little bit at the start of the race, even in turns 1 and 2 before he had his problem in 3. Kyle Busch snuck by him on the outside going into turn 1, and he was way up the racetrack then.
So first caution only takes a lap.
And here's Jamie Dick getting into turn 3. Like that tire was down.
Yeah. Had all the look of it, didn't it?
Yep.
So early trouble for the Texas native. Jamie Dick has put us under caution on the first lap of the race. But already from that one lap, you can see what kind of a day it's going to shape up to be. 3 wide for the race lead. And the 54 charging from the back. It's Kevin Harvick, who is the leader. Under caution, though, early here at Auto Club Speedway in Southern California. Kyle up to 25th just in that opening lap. Got 15 of them in 2 miles. Definitely not raining in Southern California today. Beautiful look at downtown Los Angeles, and jump on the 10 freeway and drive east, and you will come to Fontana, a city of 200,000 where the Auto Club Speedway of Southern California is located. And a live look as we run under caution early in this one. Reminder, the women's tournament continues tomorrow afternoon with plenty of regional action. Jamie Dick has continued after repairs to his 55 car. That's him leaving the pit lane at the bottom of the screen there. Kyle Busch, I'll correct myself, he got 14 of them in the first lap. I said 15.
That's still a lot.
I feel great, Shane.
Look at that other one right here.
Yeah. Remember that key restart moment, getting clear in turn 1 we talked about earlier.
Look, Kyle has been right up against that wall for the last couple laps. Started this race right then. In fact, in the Cup race, or the Cup practice session a little while ago, he actually hit that wall, tore the right side off that Cup car. But I tell you, the groove's up there. That's really a lot of grip up there.
Kenseth 20, Harvick 5, Logano 22.
Wow, what a good grip Kevin Harvick got down on the bottom, actually below the white line.
That's wild.
Tell you what, guys, turn 4 at this racetrack's one of the most fun turns in all of racing. You just mat that throttle in center 3 and 4. That track runs away from you. You let that motor start revving up, and you carry some big speed getting into turn 1.
Logano threads the needle. 22.
Now you see Logano getting down below that white line, making the pass on Harvick.
Guys, I think this is going to be a good day for Kevin Harvick. We watched him in practice. He was number 1 in the Cup practice today, and he was right at the top of the board in the Nationwide Series practice today. And he's got a lot of confidence. I talked to him before the race. He says he loves his track, and I just wonder if it's got anything to do with him coming from California.
Well, I did talk to Adam Stevens in the garage, Kyle Busch's crew chief, and he said that these cars, the 5 and the 9 of Chase Elliott, were probably the best cars in practice. That's who they were worried about. Right now, though, it's Joey Logano showing them the way.
99, James Buescher. 42, Kyle Larson. 3, Ty Dillon. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Just watch Ty Dillon's car pick up the draft right here. Look at this. Catching that 99 to front curve, be diving underneath and taking a look at least getting down into turn 1. And like I said earlier, you can't do this at other tracks. You really feel the draft here at the California Speedway.
Well, look at Kyle getting a big run up top now, all the way by Chase Elliott.
That's going to be into the top 10 right there, passing that 9 car. That took 7 laps, and 2 of them make it 3 of them under caution.
I'll tell you what, I lost that bet. I didn't think he'd get up there that quick. And I thought it'd get a lot tougher on him the farther he got, but he's just knifing through him right now. We had a lot of talk about this old surface. And I tell you, when these surfaces get older, Goodyear can bring softer tires. The drivers can run lower air pressures. They get more grip. And, man, they just love it. They're not a big fan at all of the repaves where they run bumper to bumper and can't pass. At this racetrack, it's had some of the best racing we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, one of the things I like about these worn-out surfaces, too, is this during the run, you'll see a car that's striking out, like you see Logano now with the lead. But as this run progresses, you'll see a car that has a good long run setup in it, and it'll start moving towards the front. Kyle Busch, on the other hand, has got a fast setup no matter what, short or long.
This is for 8th place here. Trying to pass Kyle Larson. Vince, obviously, whatever changes Adam Stevens made on that 54 car you were reporting on earlier, they've worked out pretty well.
Well, and that's exactly what he had talked about prior to the race. Even though they won last year, he said, if we feel like so many things change in a year's time, you've got to be better when you come back the next time. So even though Kyle, they said they thought he was a top 3 car in practice, they weren't satisfied with it and did make those changes after practice. So far, Kyle says the car is fine. And we've seen it. He's into the top 10, as you noted, Alan.
I'll say it's fine. There's that draft you talked about, Rusty. Pulled right up on Ty Dillon.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like I said earlier, Alan, these other racetracks you go to, you just don't feel that. But, boy, you really feel it here in California.
As they head down the back straightaway, you can see this backstretch at this race. It's a big racetrack. It's only 500 feet shorter down this back straightaway than it is at Daytona. That's why this draft works so well.
Hey, talking about that draft, one thing that's been on my mind also, Andy, because of the draft, is all these sustained RPMs. I don't know if we're going to see any blown engines or not today, but this is the perfect scenario to blow one up. You hear those motors just singing for a long, long time, and these guys are really running the corners hard. And that RPM just stays up, that tacks up around 8,500, 9,000 RPM for a long, long time.
It's like Joey's got a small piece of debris on the grill.
Yep. Let's see if that becomes a factor or not. As he comes up to put a lap on Jamie Dick, who is back on track again after repairs from the crash and the flat tire on lap 1. Early in the going, Logano leads. Kyle Busch already up to 6th from the back. Joey Logano has put a gap on second place Kevin Harvick in the TreatMyClock.com 300 at California. Logano taking the lead on the 6th lap of the race, and there's the gap. First back to second with Harvick, Kenseth, now Kyle Busch up to 4th, and Elliott Sadler running in 5th. Now, just something I noticed that I thought was kind of fun, and we point out to you. There's a great big LED board outside of turn number 1, right on top of the retaining wall, and in it, it's got a readout, some sort of a speed trap, a radar gun or something connected to the cars as they come by. So that's what Joey Logano is seeing as he goes screaming off into turn 1. He's seeing that he's going 186 miles an hour.
Would you be looking at that, Rusty, going into 1?
You know I'd be looking at it. Every single lap I look at that and go, let me see if I can make it go a little bit higher. And then sooner or later I'd be way too deep down in that corner.
Okay, let's see what he does this time. 187. He's got one more mile an hour.
All right. You know, he sees it. He's trying to get that baby going. I will tell you, a little while ago I looked out there and it said 192, so yeah, they're going faster than 185.
That must have been when Kyle Busch came by.
Yeah.
Here's 3rd place, speaking of Kyle. Earlier today, NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying, his 54 team had trouble getting the car through technical inspection.
I want to just ask Rusty, Matt Kenseth just got passed by Kyle Busch. He knows Kyle started in the back. How does that, and they drive for the same team, how does that make you feel when he comes up there and passes you that early?
Well, you just know that this guy's got some type of gift at this racetrack because he's won here so much. But the other thing, it's in the back of your mind, meaning Matt Kenseth, is that I got the same car. I got the same motor. I got the same everything. What is he doing different than I'm doing to get the job done? Now, I will tell you, Kenseth's pretty good here also.
Yeah.
Late in the race, I wouldn't doubt he's going to get up there.
I think one thing Matt's thinking is, well, he's got 6 laps fresher tires than I do.
Probably does.
Because he didn't qualify. Yep. And that really could be an advantage right now for Kyle Busch.
So Kyle Busch up to 3rd place. Remember that big board we just showed you outside of turn number 1, and we showed you, what, 187 for Logano?
That was the one.
That's the one we were looking at, wasn't it?
Getting it done.
I tell you, there's drivers that just love certain racetracks, and this one here is just right in his wheelhouse. I don't know if it's a pressure from Toyota being out here in California, or the kid just loving these 2-mile racetracks. A lot of people say that Kyle's one of the best at driving a momentum-style runner. This guy here, Joey Logano's another guy driving the 22. He's good at it, too.
Logano building his lead to 3.7 seconds at this point. Update on the 22 from Dave.
Alan, they're having him report on his temperatures. They're just a little bit high right now. Nothing to be concerned with, they don't believe. Drivers' temperatures are going to rise a little bit today because it's pretty warm out here. Joey's water bottle is not working. And one more thing, his car is a little bit free. He says the nose is definitely making me free. If I get in traffic, it's only going to get worse. Look for adjustments on the 22 when he pits.
So that water bottle not working means he'll have to do it the old-fashioned way on a pit stop.
Well, Andy, you know as well as I do, that debris on the front of that car, although it doesn't look like it's blocking up much of the grill, but if it's blocking up any of the grill whatsoever, the temperature goes up, but it creates downforce and makes that car looser. And he's complaining about a loose car right now, so maybe the debris got something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take that into consideration when they make their adjustments on this first pit stop.
Trevor Bayne in the 6, his car also had trouble getting through technical inspection before qualifying this morning, but they did make it through in time to get out on the track and make a run. He advanced from the first round to the second, and Bayne started this race in 13th place. Right now he's running in 12th in the 6 car. Trevor starting the day second in the Nationwide Series Championship standings by just a single point behind the guy he just passed, Regan Smith.
I'll tell you, you heard us talk about the problems Kyle Busch had through technical inspection, getting through. Now you see the 6 car, and they see the bouncy track. I mean, these guys are taking everything right to the very edge in tech to get them through. Sometimes you're getting busted.
Second place, Kyle up to second, around Kevin Harvick. Now nearly 4 seconds behind Joey Logano, but up to second.
Well, you can just hear how Harvick's having to work the throttle as these tires wear down. That track surface is worn, so you lose a lot of grip over the run. You can hear it right there.
And I'll tell you what, as a driver, I love that. I love those soft tires. I love to see the grip go away a little bit. Kevin told me before the race today, he said, man, when you put 4 tires on these cars, they are so much faster. Not like the other surface where you run a real hard tire. Man, we put that soft tire in this car, it just took off. So he said, Rusty, look forward to 4 tires because, man, they're really going to make these cars a lot faster here at this track in the Auto Club Speedway.
Harvick has led 5 laps in this one, but now he's back to third, Jamie.
Well, Rusty, as you were talking about, moving around is what Kevin Harvick loves. This is his forte. He loves this track. But the problem is he just doesn't have the car under him that he needs right now. No front grip in the back, he said, feels like it's out of the track just a little bit too loose. So on the first round of pit stops, which we're hearing about lap 40, he'll want to make some adjustments as he ducks to the inside of Kyle Busch.
Taking a peek to see if he can get second place back.
I think one thing, once he got passed by Kyle Busch, he's looking around the racetrack trying to find maybe something. I think he has found a little something. He's able to keep up with him anyway.
Well, you know, bottom line with Harvick, he's in the top 3 right now. Even though Kyle just passed him, he's still got a really quick car. Even though the car's off just a little bit, off a little bit, like Jamie mentioned, I'd be pretty happy with this car. It looks like it's adjustable to me. On the next pit stop, they can make some changes and fix it.
Kyle Busch has won 6 of the last 8 NASCAR Nationwide Series races here in California. The only 2 he hasn't won, the guy that's ahead of him on the track has won, Joey Logano. Head over the Hollywood Hills, a little bit east of the Auto Club Speedway, and the man who's putting on the show is the guy who's been the leading player at this racetrack in the last 6-8 years in this Nationwide Series. Kyle Busch started last after his team had some troubles getting their machine through technical inspection before qualifying. And by lap number 7, He was in the top 10 with 3 of those first 7 laps being run under the yellow flag. Then he blasted on up into the top 5 by lap 14, then up to second at lap 22, and he's now at lap 29 trying to chase down the race leader, Joey Logano. Just the one quick opening lap caution, otherwise all green so far today here at California. It's still got 26 cars on the lead lap. There is the man who has led most of the laps, Joey Logano. The advantage was 3.9 seconds over Kyle Busch. It's down to 3.2 seconds now.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like right now Kyle's catching him. The very last time by Joey Logano, about a 1/10 of a second faster than Kyle. It looks like Kyle just drove that car so hard and into the front, it's kind of stabilized right now.
And then after Kevin Harvick was trying to fight back on Kyle Busch for second place a little while ago, Harvick's now slipped almost 2.5 seconds off of Kyle's back bumper in third. From there back, we go up the speed with Nationwide Insurance. Start with the man who started on the pole, Jamie, Elliott Sadler.
Yes, he did. Captured his first pole for the first time in over a year. Well, he didn't even get a chance to lead a lap. Kevin Harvick put an end to that quickly. Elliott slipping back just a little bit and saying the car's just rolling the center really slow and he needs help on throttle. So look for some changes to come here in the next 10 laps for the first round of stops, Dave.
Matt Kenseth there with a black-nosed Toyota. He wasn't leading, but Kyle went by him just as promised. Matt's problem right now, he's a little low on rear grip. He said, it's like I have a hard right rear tire. That's his complaint on the car. Vince?
Well, in 6th place is Brian Scott, started 9th, so he's up a couple of positions. He says the car lacks overall grip and is a little free off the turns, especially as they've gotten deeper into this run. But otherwise, said the car's not too bad, Jamie.
And behind him, Ty Dillon doing a heck of a job. His first start here at California Speedway, saying the car is just a little tight in 3 and 4. He can't get through the corner. So he said the tires are wearing, and that's why he's running up high, Dave.
And look at Kyle Larson running down low. We talked about searching for a line. Kyle's good at it. Whoa, this track suits him, and he caught that. His car is loose right now. Behind him, the 9 car of rookie Chase Elliott. He has no rear stability, he's reported in. He's been loose in the center of 3 and 4. He'd like his crew to adjust on that when he hits pit road. As for the 6th of Trevor Bayne, we talked about him not being in the right position. He wanted to be at the beginning of this race. He dropped a few positions right at the start. Tight in the center was his complaint. He did say in practice yesterday he thought the high line was going to be his friend, and you saw him using it through 1 and 2 that time. Jamie?
And James Buescher behind him started his day 12th, and he's talking about his car. He's just having a problem that it's over-rotating when he gets back to the throttle, so he wants to make some changes to this car. Tight through the middle is the main problem. So car, okay, let's go back to Vince.
And David Reagan is running the 98 again this week, just his second race of the season. He was 17th at Vegas. He's won a couple of times in this series back in 2009. Would certainly like to get it back to victory lane here this year. Right now, says he can't run quite as high a line as he'd like. Car's a little too snug. Alan?
Hi, Vince. A look back through the top dozen. And again, 23 on the lead lap at the moment. Chase Elliott, 9. Trevor Bayne, 6 for 9th and 10th places. I walked into the garage area yesterday with Bill Elliott, Chase's dad, and I said, so your son's doing okay, huh? And he looked at me and he said, Las Vegas, when Chase finished, ran on the top 5 a lot of the races, he said, I was shocked he did that well there so soon. He said he is really doing a good job. Well, he's got a good teacher, but give the kid some credit. He obviously has a lot of talent.
He does have a lot of talent. He's won a lot of short track races. He's just a naturally talented kid. He's driving for a good team also. But, I will tell you, I'm not as shocked that he did good at Vegas as maybe Bill is, because the track is fast and it's got a lot of grip. And these young guys, they're fearless. They love fast racetracks.
I think he's learning something here today, though. He had a really good car in practice, qualified in the top 5, but he slipped back as this race started. With this kind of surface and all that, I think he's learning something that he's going to have to adjust on his car. Maybe he needs to be a little different when these races start. So there's a lot of things that he's going to have to learn in these first few races of the year, especially coming to these tracks for the first time.
Never driven here before until he started practice on Friday. 4th place changing hands. Matt Kenseth by Elliott Sadler. Closing in on a round of green flag pit stops. And Kyle Busch trying to close in on Joey Logano, but the lead pretty steady between them these last several laps around. First of the leaders have trickled onto pit road. Chase Elliott, Regan Smith leaving as Kevin Harvick comes into his stall in that red car, Jamie.
He says the main problem is no stability in the rear end of this car, just too loose. It'll go down around on the track bar, make an air pressure adjustment, and put 4 sticker tires on this 5 machine.
The 62 of Brendan Gaughan, it's been loose all day, but he says it's starting to come to him. They made a chassis adjustment. It's a 4-tire change and Sunoco fuel for the 62 of Gaughan. Stalled it on the pit lane. Now they got to push him off.
Got her going again. Brendan had a good run at Bristol last week, but got tagged for speeding on pit road. And this long pit road on this giant 2-mile track's an easy place to get busted for that, too.
No, big time. One of the easiest. I mean, this place is so long. Many zones here. You can speed here and get caught big time.
Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Elliott Sadler, and Kyle Larson in. Dave?
They laid the wrench on the back with a magnet. It stuck there until they went around to the left side and made a wedge adjustment. A 4-tire change for Kyle Larson. His car had gone to the loose side. He's away from pit road. Jamie?
Elliott Sadler, our pole sitter today in the #1 pit box, just saying rolling the center really slow. So track bar down, air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, lane stop.
Joey Logano in from the lead. Kyle Busch in from second. Vince?
It's a 4-tire change for Kyle Busch. He said he needs a little more stability in the rear of the car. Chassis adjustment as well. Dave?
Leader Logano saw the debris come off. The temperatures went down, so they're actually adding tape to the front of his race car. Track bar adjustment as well. He said over that run it started snugging up near the end, which crew chief Jeremy Bowens took note of and made adjustments for it. The 20 of Matt Kenseth is in right now. He'll get adjustments for his race car. Remember, it was low on rear grip. Matt is away.
Don't know what they were doing under the right front of that 22 car, but we'll have Dave follow up on that. That's going to cost Logano the lead. Dave, check that. Here's Kwasniewski in.
That's right, Alan. And loose all over the track was the report from the rookie Dylan Kwasniewski. 4 tires and fuel with an air pressure adjustment.
Landon Castle on the pit lane and beginning to head back out. Jeffrey Earnhardt also heading back out onto the racetrack. And so that is going to complete the cycle of pit stops. And look who's in the lead. Kyle Busch out in front. Logano's stop took a long time under the right front.
Was that 54 car being in the lead after the second pit stop surprise you? It doesn't me. I mean, man, he's been fast. Now, I want to see how much the tires do. I wrote down the times of what they were running before the pit stop. I'll get back with you later and see how much speed they picked up, and it's a bunch.
Yeah, if you can see right there, 19.5 on Logano. I don't know what kind of problem they had on the right front, but it definitely slowed him down quite a bit. You can see it cost him, almost 7 seconds.
So on that exchange of stops, Kyle Busch goes from 2.5 seconds behind Joey Logano to 3.8 seconds ahead of him.
See if we can figure out what kind of problem they had on that right front. You can see, looks like that the shocks had the front end pinned down, and he could not get the wheel off. That wheel almost has to be directly straight for it to come off anyway. And if that wheel is kind of, you can see how it did not drop out of the wheel well very much.
And I'll tell you what, that's a hit on a driver, because the driver needs to index the steering wheel, put a mark at the top of the wheel. On every pit stop, Andy, put it right at the very top. Because these wheel wells are so tight, they got to be right on the money. So if he had that thing turned to the right a little bit, like it looked like, that's what caused that problem. That's a driver error.
You don't see that very often. These wheels are all, I've never seen a wheel that wasn't marked straight up.
So watch at the back of that right front wheel well as the tire changer goes to try and pull the tire off. It's a little hidden behind the jackman, but that's the key part of it. Right at the back side of that front tire well.
Yeah, you can see, I think the wheels are pretty straight. I mean, you look at him, I think it's just...
So it grabs right there at the back side. Again, they're so tight, Andy. I mean, for downforce and aerodynamics, the team's got to build them that way. But guess just a little bit off like he was. That's what caused that problem.
And you could see the crew guys pointing at Joey to turn the wheel a little bit. And Dave, that's cost him a lot of ground.
Yes, it really has, Alan. They looked it over very closely, and I did confirm with them it wasn't the fault of the shock holding the wheel up. They said he just has to turn the wheel a little bit more.
Well, he's definitely got a mark on the top of his steering wheel. Could have just been an oversight. Or he actually could have the wheel index a little different.
Could be. I'm with you, though, Andy. It looked like when he came down, the wheel did look straight, but I guess the talons are just that tight.
Actually, I think I see two marks. You see a red one and a yellow one on
You
the
do,
steering
yeah.
Interesting. And that result is it cost him about 5 seconds. And that 5 seconds has dropped him from the lead to a distant second place at the moment.
All about the details.
Well, so there we go. Who gained and who lost ground within the top 10 on the green flag pit stops.
Yeah, we normally show that under caution, but you can see quite a few spots changed during that cycle of green flag stop.
Those 4 tires picked these cars up about a solid second. That's a lot on this big track.
Joey Logano, last lap, 0.3 of a second faster than Kyle Busch.
Tires all look good. We're going to have to go a little bit further left than our mark on the wheel there. Yeah, 10-4.
See the gap getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and no doubt Joey knew what happened, so next time he'll compensate for that.
Yeah, he's trying to make up for it right now.
Oh, you know, every time a driver gets behind, man, they got to catch back up. They're a little bit embarrassed, and it's go, Cat, go. He's on the gas right now.
Now you think he's watching that big number, the speed into turn 1?
Yes. I think he's looking at that thing and trying to get that baby above 192 and try to catch Kyle Busch.
0.3 faster than Kyle again that last lap. Early run, late run. If this is another long green flag run, do you burn it down too soon? I don't know. We'll find out. First round of pit stops, though, changed up the leaderboard in the TreatMyClock.com 300. NASCAR Nationwide Series at Auto Club Speedway in Southern California. The TreatMyClock.com 300, a third of the way through, and Kyle Busch is the race leader. Nationwide Series is off next weekend, but in 2 weeks, we'll go to Texas. And we'll race on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll see it on ESPN2 and live on Watch ESPN. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski winning last year, both in the spring and the fall races respectively. And how about this? For that weekend in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, going to have the racing in Texas Friday night, Nationwide Series. Final Four basketball Saturday over in Arlington. The Sprint Cup Series race at Texas Motor Speedway Sunday. And the men's basketball championship in Arlington on Monday. Will that be a big time in town or what?
That's a lot going on. It seems like everything's bigger in Texas, even all that stuff.
There is Kyle Busch. Started at the back of the pack after having troubles, his team getting the car through technical inspection before qualifying today. Andy, let's talk about what it was they were having trouble with and why they were having trouble with it.
Well, the first time they went through tech, they had problems with the stud lengths. They have a minimum length that the wheel studs can be to make it kind of fair for everybody changing tires. So they had to change those. Everything else passed. They went back through again, and they had a skew problem with the rear end having just a little bit more skew or steer in it than they allow. And they were kind of confused. I talked to Adam Stevens. He said, I'm confused. We didn't even make a change, and now we got to go back through. They did that 4 times. They could not get the car to go through tech so they could qualify.
Kyle a tick faster than Joey Logano that lap. Now, that's the first time that's been that way since the pit stops. Harvick has been really on a tear here these last several laps, and, of course, Logano ate into the ground he gave up to Kyle on the pit stop. He ate into it for about the first 10 laps after they made the stops.
Looking back through the pack, you see Ty Dillon was the quickest that lap.
Yeah, we've been watching him a lot. He just keeps consistently being one of the fast guys, one of the top 3 at least. And we all know that these Richard Childress engines in these cars are so strong. They always seem like they're running good, and they're building their cars very, very consistent. And talking about Ty Dillon, a lot of guys in this garage here, they say Ty is maybe better than Austin, his brother. And I know the brother doesn't like to hear that at all, but they sure are awful equal. They run so good.
And he's probably watching right now.
Oh, I'm sure too. I'm sure he is. When that darn Rusty.
Getting up there on the bottom though, but just getting free center exit.
Little feedback there from Ty, who's running in 8th, Jamie.
Well, when you talk to Danny Stockman, his crew chief, he was Austin's crew chief last year. He'll tell you these 2 drivers couldn't be more different on the track and off. Ty Dillon likes his car a little more free. Now, you heard him saying there, he's getting a little too free for comfort. But interesting, when he turned that fastest lap, he literally came on the radio and said, it's getting worse. So I guess worse is meaning a good, fast car right now.
Loose is fast.
As long as you can hold on to it.
Yeah. there is that at 159, 160 miles an hour.
They got to give a lot of credit to these young guys. They come to a racetrack like this, a lot different than most tracks. No experience at all, and just get the practice sessions they've had and to be as competitive as they are. I mean, it's just impressive to me. We see Ty Dillon and Chase Elliott, a lot of these guys. Dylan Kwasniewski on the board a while ago when he had one of the fastest laps. These guys learn quick.
Andy, one of the things that's so good about running here at the Auto Club Speedway is that it's so wide, and these young guys, they got a lot of room, a lot of time. Every time they approach the corner, they try to do a little bit different, try to learn something. And at the shorter racetracks, it's much, much harder. These big racetracks, you come off at turn 4, you're looking at that whole front straightaway thinking, how am I going to approach turn 1 different? I messed it up last time. What am I going to do in turn 2? I messed it up last time. They keep correcting themselves as the race goes on, and they can really learn pretty rapid at a big track like this.
Well, you can see from that shot right there that Kyle Busch is not enjoying too big of a lead. These guys are starting to chew into it.
Matt Kenseth now 8 seconds behind in 4th place. And yeah, the gap between 1st and 2nd shrinking considerably as Logano closing down on Kyle Busch. The gap down to now just 0.7 of a second, Vince.
That's right, loose, and not just once, but twice. Kyle said loose. Said it started out the run a little bit looser up off than the previous run, and it has just continued to get free as the run has gone on. Now, they did make a chassis adjustment during that first stop because Kyle said we needed some more stability in the rear end of the car, but they certainly haven't hit the sweet spot of it yet. Just reassured by his crew chief, Adam Stevens. It's early, just lap 59. We got plenty of time to tweak on it.
Yeah, it's that loose. That's when I start. When he says it once, I'm saying, okay, we might think about adjusting it. But when he says it twice, we better get serious about it.
And when I see him way up on top of the racetrack like he is right now, you know that he's trying to use the entire track up because that thing is so loose.
And you're afraid to turn the wheel because the back end will come around on you.
Exactly right, Alan. If you get down there and turn the wheel any bit at all too much, you're right. It gets real loose. So he tries to run it as straight as he can, and especially off of turn 2. Turn 2 is one of the toughest corners at this racetrack because when this track was designed, the back straightaway was elevated 20 feet to make it so everybody in the front could see better. But it's kind of made the turn 2 exit real flat, and it's made it when you go into turn 3, you're turning on the straightaway to get in the corner. So it's different than any other racetrack.
Speedway built by Roger Penske and Penske Speedways in 1997. The late Les Richter, former NASCAR Vice President of Competition, former President of the Riverside International Raceway Road Course just down the street from here. Very instrumental in the construction and the design of this racetrack. We always remember the coach when we come here to Southern California.
I'm glad you said that because he is a really cool guy. I used to come out here and watch him. He'd sit out there with his old clothes on and say, move this, move that. And this Speedway, the Auto Club Speedway, was everything in the world to Roger Penske and Coach Richter. And I think they've done a fantastic job putting it together. And boy, they've had some great racing here.
Oh, what a pass right there Joey Logano put on Kyle Busch. You can see Kyle struggling a little bit with his car, and you can see how it wiggled getting in the corner. Boy, Joey Logano's car stuck like glue.
Yeah, Joey saw that. He saw Kyle being kind of vulnerable right there and just took him real fast.
Yeah, but look at the draft. You can see just how much he drafted up on the straightaway. Kyle did.
That's fun. When you come down the front straightaway, get a big draft like that and get all that momentum going into turn 1. And we talked about options earlier. Ricky Craven was telling us in the Countdown show, boy, he's right. This racetrack's got a lot of options. Kevin Harvick told me I'm going to run the bottom the first 10 or 15 laps. Then I'm going to start moving up. You see Kyle Busch running the center. You see Joey Logano up top. Hey, if the fastway is around the bottom, they'd be doing it. But now they got these options all over the track. I love it this way.
So after losing some 5 seconds on a pit stop earlier, Logano is charged back and caught Kyle Busch for the race lead. Don't forget, NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy has enhanced action today from Auto Club Speedway with live race views, chat, and leaderboard. No, not that. Man, what a great day for a flight on the blimp, huh? Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Trouble on the back straightaway. Caution is out. And the second yellow flag of this race, just shy of halfway. And the first one came out on the very first lap. So, story of the race so far, the one spin on lap 1, Kyle Busch started in the back, passed 14 of them in the first lap, then ran all the way up to take the lead at lap 42. He took the lead on an exchange of green flag pit stops when Joey Logano didn't have the wheel pointed exactly straight in his car, and his front tire changer had trouble getting the right front out from under the machine. Joey went from a 2.5-second lead to minus 3.8 seconds, but over 20 laps made up all of that distance and passed Kyle Busch to retake the lead. Now we get the second caution flag and another round of pit stops coming up. Regan Smith in the 7 had just been overtaken by the race leader. He gets the free pass here as the first car 1 lap down. He's in 15th place.
So you're telling me that Joey Logano went from being embarrassed to the man now?
Well, he kind of took care of that little mistake. He drove to the front, and now it's all behind him. He has the lead and a chance for his team now to maintain it.
He did a great job. He drove the wheels off that thing.
Remember, it was back at Las Vegas when Brad Keselowski overshot his pit stop, had to back up, went from 2nd to 5th at the time, wound up winning the race. It's not that you make a mistake, it's when you make a mistake and having enough time and a good enough car to overcome it. Right?
Well said. Totally agree with that one.
Another trip down the pit lane. Except this one under the yellow flag. Kyle Busch hits first, Vince.
Reminding Kyle to just 4,200 on the RPMs on pit lane to make sure they don't get a speeding penalty. They're going to go down a round and a quarter on the track bar to try to bring a little more snugness to Kyle's car. We told you it was a little too free. 4 tires as well. Dave?
Matt Kenseth runs 4th. He was loose on the first run, not as loose this time. He'll get an adjustment for that. Joey Logano has the wheel index perfectly this time. They're quickly around the left side. It is a chassis adjustment for a car that was tightening up as he went.
Bottom right of Kevin Harvick liked the adjustments last time. More of that. He wants stability in the rear end. Went down on the track bar. Air pressure. 4-tire stop. Who wins the race off pit road? Alan, it's your call.
That'll be Logano, but Elliott Sadler got a good getaway for that first pit stall that he was able to select by winning the pole in qualifying, and that's going to gain him some ground.
It definitely has its privileges starting on the pole and getting that first pick. 3 spots for Sadler.
So Joey Logano holds the lead on the pit stops. See how that car angled a little bit to the left? He made sure he had that wheel straight no matter what when he got into the pit box this time, and it got him the lead off the pit lane. Hollywood, Mark Armstrong, changing front tires for David Reagan today. Getting it done. Reagan showing right now lead lap in 13th position in the 98 car. Joey Logano, the race leader, gave up the lead on a green flag pit stop, held it on a caution flag pit stop, and watch as Joey comes into his pit stall here, how determined he was to make sure that wheel wasn't turned too far to the right.
Yeah, he got the wheel straight and locked her down, and the team went from there.
Good job, boys. That was perfect on the wheel.
Went through there a little bit. Good recovery.
Yeah, 10-4.
So Joey choosing the outside lane with Kyle Busch to his inside for the restart. Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Brian Scott in 6th place. Lined up in the rows behind them.
Yeah, we talked about how these restarts are critical. This is going to be a big one here.
They have been talking about it all week. No matter what driver you talk to, they keep saying, I mean, the entry into turn 1 and off of turn 2, that is the critical spot where you got to get those passes done because of these new tires. We watched it last year, too.
This should be fun. They'll be 4 wide in the middle of 1 and 2.
And you got 2 guys in the front straightaway that aren't in love with each other, but do like to outrun each other almost every single time.
That was an interesting view.
Yeah. Logano got through the gearbox really quick, but watch Kyle down the bottom down here. Dive bomb that baby down in there.
Look at Harvick, though. He's trying to get some momentum on the top. Look at the graph. You can just see just how much effect it has on Harvick catching these 2.
Well, that's a tough call right there. Do I stay in the top or do I go to the bottom? That's what Harvick's thinking right now. Because the 54 car, Kyle Busch, was quick on that run. Kevin moved up and kind of stalled out behind Joey Logano. But he knows when he gets down to turn 1 now, the momentum's up top and it's up high. See him move up high like that, get back in the throttle, try to get that RPM built back up and run that 22 car back down, coming down this back straightaway.
Oh, got one in the wall. Chase Elliott. Caution flag is out.
Keep it straight. Go straight, but we killed the wall here. 10-4, we're going to come pit road next time by.
Yeah, you see a lot.
What the heck happened there?
Maybe he made some
31
contact.
just ran you up the track.
No, we'll show you what happened there.
31 gets a little free, has to chase it up right into the side of Chase Elliott, and he has nowhere to go but the wall.
Side drafting you. Easy. All clear. Inside now.
Okay, that's just a classic rookie mistake on a 31 car.
Yeah, Chase was doing everything right there. He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Chase was up top, no problem, but you get so loose if you're in the bottom of a car and you're right against him, like Dylan was. He just got loose and got up in him. You know, Andy, as bad as it looked, or at least what Chase is saying, I mean, these doggone Nationwide cars are awful tough. That wasn't a big hit in my eyes. I think they can fix that car.
I got all that escape. That was my fault. I didn't mean to do that. He got closer than I expected coming into 1 and 2, and I got all that escape and washed up.
Yeah, definitely not intentional. I mean, it was just a little over-aggressiveness. Yeah, we talked about the restarts when these first few laps after the restart. You need to try to make up ground. That's what he was trying to do. We're all learning.
So they'll try that move. They'll run side by side, being a young guy, many times, and finally they'll finally figure out, hey, I can't do that. They know what they can do, how far they can take it.
Both of them are 18 years old. You know, both Chase Elliott and Dylan Krasnowski. They're 18 and out here racing at 190 miles an hour and learning.
It's too young, isn't it?
No,
Okay.
not really. Not these days.
Well, it seems that way to me, though.
Doubled up for the restart of the TreatMyClot.com 300 at Auto Club Speedway. Reminder, NASCAR.com has all the latest NASCAR information. If you're checking there, it'll tell you Kyle Busch and Joey Logano are going to be side by side for this restart again, as they have been the dominant two players in this middle stretch of the race. Free pass on the caution was Chris Buescher. Chase Elliott has continued, still on the lead lap, and we've got now 16 cars on the lead lap and ready to go.
But I think Chase's car is in pretty good shape. Quarter panel looked kind of okay on it, didn't look roughed up.
So Joey Logano has chosen the inside line for this restart. He had the outside line for the last one.
Yeah, he had to really fight Kyle Busch off of that lead. I'm wondering if he thinks that he might get a better advantage, at least through turn 1 from the bottom. Be a good experiment.
Waved it off. Still get a piece of safety equipment, I guess, back in position. So we'll try it again in another lap. So we'll run them another lap behind the pace car and then turn them loose, and they'll fan out 3 and 4 wide. Right in the middle of all that mayhem and chaos will be Trevor Bayne, who's running in 5th place.
I want you to notice what this race is trending here when we get to the end. It seems like when there's a caution, it breeds another quick caution, at least from what's happened so far.
About the last 10 years, it'll continue on now for a little bit. Then we'll get another probably long green, and then we'll have some quick caution, 1 or 2 towards the end probably. That's the way it always goes, right, Chad?
So that was the thoughts of Trevor Bayne and his team. Let's check in with Regan Smith's team and Dave.
They came in to undo an adjustment they thought they needed to make on his green flag pit stop on lap 38, but when they got the 4 tires off, they checked the right front, it had equalized. The pressure between the inner liner and the outer liner were the same because the inner liner got compromised, the seat in there. So that was their problem. They needed to undo that adjustment. This yellow was a big bonus for them.
Yeah, it really was. When that happens, you have a tire equalizer. It increases the pressure in that tire, in the outer tire, and it made the car do something. They had made an adjustment for that, thinking their car was tight. They had to, once they saw that, to go back and undo that. And now they'll have to get another run to see what kind of shape their car is in. That was just unfortunate.
Look at the restart order. Here we go. How about a little 3 wide? Brian Scott in the 2.
And that was a perfect slingshot move for Brian Scott to get the lead. See if he can keep it off of 4.
Kyle Busch at the stripe by a fender.
We talked about these restarts a lot, and they are wild looking. I mean, that bonsai move that Brian Scott put on and was incredible. Look how he's just peeling around the bottom of that racetrack. Got a lot of momentum, a lot of grip down there, I mean. The momentum's up top, the grip's on the bottom. When you got new tires, like they have right now.
Now Logano and Kyle Busch racing for second. Brian Scott trying to hold him off.
How don't you look where Joey Logano was right there, almost touching the grass with the left sides.
You know, we talked about options. I'm talking about options from the bottom of the track to the top of the track, not all the way around on the apron. That's a big-time option.
Not an option to touch the grass.
That's true.
Not a good option anyway. I guess it's always an option, but...
And now look at Logano up top. That's got to be a lot of fun, Rusty.
Well, it is a lot of fun, Andy. And what's really a lot of fun is when you got this much grip and the drivers are talking this much about restarts and how they got to get it done and how it feels so good, all that grip with those 4 new tires. You can go like crazy. Then all of a sudden your car starts giving up in whatever end you've been struggling with throughout the day. Some cars have been tight. Some cars have been loose. And those new tires, they cover all that up for a couple laps. And when the goodie comes off those tires, I call it, that's when the bad stuff starts rearing its ugly head.
Joey Logano underneath Brian Scott for the lead. Kevin Harvick 5, trying to make it a 3-way fight. Kyle Busch not giving up. And Matt Kenseth right back in the picture in the 20.
I'm really impressed with Brian Scott, though. I talked to Will Lynn, who's kind of over these nationwide cars at Richard Childress Racing, and talked about just how much progress Brian Scott's made since he came to RCR.
Brian, the 26-year-old from Idaho. Couple of wins in NASCAR's Camping World Truck Series. Come close, but not yet gone to victory lane in this nationwide series. He hasn't really been a factor for the lead in this one until that last restart. Obviously having a solid run, but he's been around 5th for much of it.
Yeah, but he sure took advantage of the new tires and the draft down the back straightaway to take the lead, at least for a lap or so. And he's dicing it up with these Cup drivers.
Fighting with Kenseth and Harvick and Kyle Busch. Brian Scott running top 5, Vince.
You know, they haven't made a chassis adjustment on that car yet, so a tip of the cap to Phil Gould, his crew chief, for giving him a good race car today. The one thing they've had an issue with this season, one of the reasons why they believe they're 7th in points instead of higher up the ladder, is they have not closed well. So while they're running well at this stage in the race, really pay attention to them on that last run of the day, because that's where they've been giving up spots so far in the first 4 races this season. Right now, really happy with the way the 2 has performed to this point.
That's the last piece of the puzzle, isn't it, Rusty? As you're maturing through your career, is to be able to close the deal at the end.
Well, he's doing that. Brian Scott's doing a great job. He's getting faster and faster. He's learned a lot. And I know he's got another year experience, but I'm trying to think, what has he done from last year to this year to be so much better? So I'm thinking about it. He's got 1 more year experience, and he shaved his head. So what's more important? I don't
think
know.
it's better aerodynamics.
Maybe he's lighter. He's got, maybe his top weight is lower to the ground. It's making the car handle better or something.
Some of it's just experience and maturity. Brian got married in the offseason and has gotten comfortable at his place in this and grown more confident in it.
Yeah, I think he's very comfortable at RCR too, and I think that's what the point I brought up with Will Lynn was that it seems like that they have really done a lot for his career, and obviously he's doing his job behind the wheel. But he did mention that one thing, that they have to figure out how to close these races out. And like I said, that's probably one of the toughest things to figure out as a driver, is how to bring it home at the end when all these guys, the talented guys up front, are bringing it.
Now, that last caution, when Dylan Kwasniewski squeezed Chase Elliott, they made repairs to the right side of that 9 car. He restarted 15th, and here's Chase up in 8th position, and now make it 7th as he races Ty Dillon there.
I guess you're right, Rusty. Not a lot of damage to the 9 car. Looks like he's on his way.
Well, we all three honed in on that right rear quarter panel during his pit stop, and it didn't damage the really critical areas. The very back of the quarter panel or the right side of the spoiler, that's all in really good shape. The quarter panel's nice and flat. It kind of reminded me what I see a lot of cars do at Darlington, where they get up there and scrape the right side wall up, and it doesn't slow them down. Same with Chase right now.
Looks like after he slid back a bit earlier in the race, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Kidd and that team, the 20 team, have made some nice adjustments and brought that car alive. And here's Matt up there now racing for 2nd place with Kyle Busch. Trailing Joey Logano, though, by 1 second. Joey Logano trying to get his 3rd win here in California, but his first for Roger Penske. ESPN's season-long coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series resumes in 2 weeks. After an off weekend next weekend, it's Texas Motor Speedway. Note a Friday night race, 8 Eastern on ESPN2. The fast 1.5 mile in the Lone Star State, where Kyle Busch has been king recently, but that's no surprise. Brad Keselowski won the last race there, though, in the Penske 22. We'll see who takes home the trophy this time and does the rootin' tootin' 6-shooter celebration in Victory Lane.
Friday night at Texas. I mean, can you even believe how fast they're going to run around that racetrack with the grip? At night race at Texas, it's incredible to watch. And every driver I've talked to said, man, you cannot believe the speed they pick up at night at Texas. Should be a great race.
Pretty good race going on here for the 7th, 8th, and 9th positions. And 2nd place also. Talked about Matt Kenseth getting that 20 car rolling.
Boy, Matt had such a good race last week. Him and Kyle had pretty equal cars.
That's one of those guys that I say, where'd he come from? He's just there all day long, working on the car, getting it right. One of the best chassis guys, I call him, out there that can always tune his car up late for a race. And here he is up in 2nd again.
Brian Scott, Elliott Sadler, Ty Dillon. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Throw Trevor Bayne in there in the 6 also. Sadler started on pole in this one in the 11 car. Has slipped back just a little bit, trying to make his way back forward.
One trend I've seen in this race is that 5 car of Harvick. It seems like when they get deeper into the run, his car really does come to life. But he's lost a lot of ground to the leaders when it does that. I don't know if it's going to be good enough for him to be able to, and run long enough under one of these segments to be able to take that car all the way to the front. But it's starting to come to life now.
Yeah, that last time we saw him go all the way in the corner and just take the left front tire, get on the apron. It looked like he was trying to make that car turn just a little bit better by hooking the apron, I call it. But he's had a good car, a good solid car throughout the day. No big problems I've seen out of Harvick.
And Andy, that is the whole thing that drivers and crew chiefs were talking about in the garage about the restarts late. Because the restart position is so critical and so on, you have to have the short run car necessarily more than the long run car. The trend says we're going to get a late yellow here in this one. Lap 130 or later in 75% of the races here.
Yeah, I agree with you. If I had my choice, I'd like to have a good, fast, short-run car and one that didn't give up too much speed at the end of the run. But sometimes it's just not what you have. So you have to play the cards you're dealt for that day, and it looks like Harvick has a good car in the long run if he can just minimize how much time he loses in the beginning.
Elliott Sadler running back around Ty Dillon, 11-3, and running back up on Brian Scott in the 2. Scott slipping back from where he took the lead a little bit ago, now to where he's running in 8th place. Speaking of short run.
Yeah, his car really blasted out there on that initial few laps of that run. He's definitely giving up some speed in this part.
We had a talk at the beginning of our show about the veterans out here, the Cup guys. We got Logano, Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Chase Elliott in 5th.
Yeah, he's moved his way all the way into the top 5. And if you remember how Kyle's car, how fast it was that first run, he had 6 laps fewer on his tires when that race started. And that gave him a little advantage, especially the track where you see this, how much speed they give up. He changed tires when they fixed that car. And I think that's one thing that's giving him a little bit of an edge on some of these guys right now. He's got 6 laps fewer than the other guys right now.
Ty Dillon with a big run on Elliott Sadler there. And Elliott back to the number 10 spot, Jamie.
Well, his car's been kind of all over the map today, but right now it's just going in the wrong direction, saying the car is just really plowing on exit and saying he's just too tight, so he's trying to hang on. They were going in the right direction as he makes his way on the inside of Ty Dillon, and meanwhile, Ty Dillon as well, his car got too tight for his liking. He wants it to be freer for the end of this run, so look for some adjustments coming up on this next round of pit stops.
I heard of a lot of loose cars in that first run. Now we're hearing a few of them are tight after they made the adjustment.
Adjustment, track rubbering up.
Yeah, the track is rubbering up, and it's just a fine line. I mean, you want to try to get the car as balanced as possible. And like I said, we heard a lot of cars loose into the corner. That costs you time, so you try to tighten it up, and then what happens is your car starts tightening up off the corner where you, like right here, you see Ty Dillon had to get out of the throttle, probably losing the front end.
And that's turn 2, what we talked about earlier about with the back straightaway being raised up 20 foot, and that exit of turn 2 flattening out real quick, which makes the cars really tight.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th here. Matt Kenseth with his hands full in that 20.
Wow. I mean, that's out
cool.
there. That's
cool.
at 190 miles an hour.
They get your attention. So Kenseth running in 3rd, just behind Kyle Busch. They're both a 2.5 seconds behind the race leader, Joey Logano. Logano leading 66 of the 97 laps that have been run so far. Not all that far away from another round of green flag pit stops if we don't see the yellow. Just past the 2/3 mark today in the TreatMyClot.com 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Auto Club Speedway, Southern California. Joey Logano continues to lead. Look who's running up through the top 5 all of a sudden. Kyle Larson's car, that 42, has come alive, and he's trying to challenge Kyle Busch for 2nd place.
I tell you what, that's a load of confidence for Kyle Larson right now to be up to run with Kyle Busch and run as fast as he is. And every time we watch Kyle, he likes to run right on the top of this racetrack. I don't know if it's from his sprint car days or dirt cars or what he does, but he's running the middle, the top, all over this place.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's his dirt track days that has trained him to search around the whole race, looking for grip. What I see now is he's found a little something where he's straddling those seams, not running completely in the top lane in 1 and 2, but he's like putting one of those seams right in the middle of his car, like you see right here. I think he's just finally found something that's really working for him. Had a good car all day, but things really working now.
And what'll tell you that he found something in the line he's taken around the racetrack is that he went from 6th to 2nd in 5 laps. Just that quickly. On the move right now is Kyle Larson, Dave.
And we talked about it before, Alan. The beauty for crew chief Scott Zipadelli is that Scott uses a pretty basic setup. He says, I'm not doing anything crazy. Kyle just goes out, as you guys have said, searches out that line. Now, the car was just a little bit too loose for him on the last run. They made a chassis adjustment for it, and it appears to be better and faster for Kyle.
Andy, you were talking about this young kid from California earlier in the week, and you said he just needs to do 1 or 2 little things to go from being a contender to winning races.
Yeah, he's been fast, he's been flashy, and he drives his way up to the front, but I'm looking at the right side of his car. it's clean right now. That's the first time we've seen that in a while out of him this late in the race. I think he needs to just, if he can keep that car kind of in one piece until he finds what he's found right here. And now he's got a good car under him, and maybe he can finish one out and get a win. I think that's the only little part of the puzzle he's been missing.
And you know, Andy, you hit on something about the seams. I've been watching him lap after lap, and he picks out the exact same line. He puts that Chevrolet emblem in the center of that hood, right in the middle of that seam, straddles it every single lap, and when a driver's got a point to hit every corner, it really helps him.
Really helps him focus.
Yes, it's whether how deep you drive in a corner or how low or high you run really helps.
Well, he's been a runner-up 5 times. You can see Dale Jarrett, he finished second 10 times before he got that first win. I think it's going to happen a little quicker for Larson.
And then he won a bunch of them when he got the first one. And I think that's probably going to be the same for Larson. Yeah, Logano's giving that paint a scare.
That was a little close for me right there.
I think he looked in his mirror and said, what's that white car coming behind? Where is he running?
So Joey Logano's lead over Kyle Larson, 1.7 seconds. Chase Elliott continuing the remarkable rally from the wall contact at lap 72 that dropped him as far back as 15th. And here he is, passing both Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch to take 4th.
Now, I want to say something that might have happened to this number 9 car. A lot of the times when you hit the wall, it'll take that right rear housing, the right rear tire, and kind of push it backwards just a little bit. And when that happens, that gives you more rear steer, that gives you more downforce, and sometimes that makes that car faster. And that appears to me what's going on right now.
The old Jimmy Donovan line about the driver made the last adjustment.
How many times you heard a driver say, man, it hit the wall and it's going quicker?
Yeah.
That's what's happening in this 9 car right now.
Update on the 9 from Dave.
The beauty of it was they don't have a first-year guy as a crew chief there. Greg Ives knew that when that car came down pit road, the jackman would want to jack up the car to change the tires. But he told the guys, while it's still on all 4, clearance those fenders. And the guys worked by hand on all 4 fenders of the 9 car before it was jacked up, before the tires were changed, and before the fuel was put in. Sounds simple, but it's something you don't want to forget.
Yeah, that's just a real heads-up move by Greg Ives to do that. I mean, to keep the car on the ground. Just be methodical. They have time to work on it. They bring it down. You can see the crew members pulling away some of the skirt area, some of the wheel wells.
And you see right at the very back of that car, the most critical part of this car is the leading edge, the back where that number 9 is right there. And that's very, very, very important for aerodynamics, and they got it fixed, and it didn't get hurt.
And an interesting exchange there as the NASCAR official said, you can only pull that out so far.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't know if you caught on to that. Yeah. But that's something that crews and crew chiefs will do when they have damage. They'll try to repair it at least as good as it was. And maybe a little better if you can.
Yeah.
The official was keeping him honest.
Kyle Busch back by Chase Elliott, 4th place. These leaders all last on pit road at lap 68.
Yeah, I would look for them on about lap 113, 115 possibly, making these green flag stops.
So it's been 40 laps now, plus they had a few laps of caution.
Yeah, they may be able to run 6 or 7 more laps.
So there you go.
We'll see how far they stretch it.
There is speed to be gained in the fresher tires. Now at 41 to go. You're about in the window where you go to the finish on fuel, and still a lot for a green-white checker if you need it. So that window is opening, and opening quickly.
Yeah, it's open now. We just haven't seen anybody take advantage of it yet.
Well, yeah, we are. David Reagan is in, and Chris Buescher, the first 2.
Actually, James Buescher.
James Buescher, sorry. First 2 to make moves onto the pit road from the racetrack. Jamie?
James Buescher in the 99, they just want to work on this car, free it up a little bit. He too, like many of them, got too tight. 4 tires, fuel, filling up with Sunoco fuel there, and an air pressure adjustment was already made for James.
Chris Buescher got the free pass at the last caution. I think I mentioned that.
Alan, what do you think Bill Elliott's saying right now? You think he's still saying, boy, I can't believe Chase ran that good. He's doing it again.
I'll tell you, Chase done a great job. I mean, these races have really been impressive. I talked to Rick Hendrick just before the race started. He was telling me just how well this kid's done. And he goes out there and tests the Cup cars for Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. He's able to run just as fast as they are, and he's not out of control. They look at his throttle traces, steering traces. They're all very similar. He says this kid's got a bright future.
That's a great opportunity. What do you think it feels like for a kid like that to jump in 6-time Jimmy Johnson's car and test it for him? That's big time.
Here is Ty Dillon coming down this long pit road. Don't get a speeding penalty now. Maybe might be his last stop.
That's right. They said we got to pack it full here, guys. He had a great battle going with Elliott Sadler, but he said his car was just too tight in traffic. They want to free him up in the center of the corner. That has been the focus. He wants to be able to run high. You saw the track bar adjustment there. They'll pack him full of Sunoco fuel. The stop will be just slightly longer than normal, and it's about a second and a half longer than his last stop, guys.
Now more of the leaders coming in as Joey Logano continues to head the field. Matt Kenseth is in, Elliott Sadler's in, Brian Scott is in. Dave?
Matt Kenseth had fallen back to 6th. He was kind of all over in terms of what the car was doing. He finally settled on, I'd work on the tight if I were you. That'll be a wedge adjustment and air pressure adjustment in addition to the Sunoco fuel and 4 fresh tires. They've still got 1 set left behind the wall for the 20 if there's a late caution. Jamie?
And Elliott Sadler telling his crew, we just killed our exit. They're going to go back on the adjustments they made last time, which was track bar and air pressure. He's loose on entry as well, so trying to make those changes, Dave.
Leader Logano is in now. He said it was starting to come to him. Actually, they want the car to come to him quicker on the get-go, so it'll be a track bar adjustment to tighten him up just a little bit at the start of this run. There it goes. Full of fuel now, 4 fresh tires for Joey. Remember, he's lost the lead, he's regained the lead. It's been a good day for Logano so far. The crew nails it. Jamie.
One more shot here for Kevin Harvick to try to get his car in contention to run up front for the lead and perhaps his first win in the Nationwide Series here. He needs more rear grip. He too was too tight in traffic, guys.
Kyle Larson led after Logano pitted. Now Larson is down the pit road. Kyle Busch is also in. And events.
Kyle Busch just needs more lateral grip and some more rear stability, so it's going to be another chassis adjustment and a 4-tire change for Kyle. He says the car is good, about where it was last year, but it's not good enough to win today so far. Dave?
The other Kyle says, I'm so good in 3 and 4, I'm afraid for you to adjust it much, so just give me a skosh tighter. That's all I need right now.
That's going to cycle all of the leaders around through the pit lane except Chase Elliott, who, remember, had gotten into the wall and so had a few more laps he could run. Now to stay on fresh tires, though, with these other leaders. Here he comes in now to the attention of his crew with what will be 35 laps to go. There he is, Dave.
What a great run to the front, 15th to 4th over this run. It will be a track bar adjustment. The crew's already put the wrench in. There it goes. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Chase, the rookie, having scraped the wall early. The crew having made repairs. As we see Tanner Berryhill on the right side, his car is slowed. Chase Elliott is gone.
Berryhill stalled in the middle of the pit lane. His crew comes out to retrieve him. All of the leaders.
Back. You got to push it back. They can't push it from there anymore.
That's right. You're not allowed to just push the car down the pit lane to try and start it when it's stalled. All of the leaders have made their pit stops. The cycle out is Joey Logano with a fairly sizable advantage over Kyle Larson. 34 laps to go. And again, remember the trend here, 75% of the time, you get a caution inside of those last 30 laps.
Back at Auto Club Speedway of Southern California for the TreatMyClock.com 300. Inside, 30 to go. Joey Logano is out front. Now, if you missed the beginning of this race, you missed one heck of a performance by Kyle Busch. Here's the Ram race rundown. He started 39th. By lap 8, Ricky, he was in the top 10.
He used every ounce of his talent, inside, outside, high lane, through the middle. He was 10th after 8 laps, 5th after 14 laps, and he was all the way to 2nd after 22.
Yep, got the lead after a pit stop error by Joey Logano. How about this for a slight error between two young drivers, two rookies in this series, really just learning the ropes and kind of finding the edge?
Yeah, just absolutely a rookie mistake by Dylan Kwasniewski. He gets up into Chase Elliott. He admits that. Just racing really, really hard. Great learning opportunity. Both have bounced back, though, and are running very respectably.
But again, how about Chase Elliott? We said when we were on the air for Countdown earlier, true or false, Chase Elliott is the most impressive rookie so far this season. Here he is, has had an issue, and he is still in 6th.
It's another example of him being ahead of his years as we watch Kevin Harvick giving Kyle a bump down the backstretch. Chase Elliott doesn't know how bad the car's wrecked, but some drivers would be preoccupied with it being wrecked and automatically slow down. That's pretty impressive.
Let's go back upstairs to Alan.
And Ricky, Nicole, Brad, what's really impressive is the amount of time that Kyle Larson has shaved off of Joey Logano's race lead since the completion of that cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, once it cycled out, he was 4.4 seconds or so behind Joey Logano. Look what it is now.
That is 1.1 seconds from 4.2 seconds behind.
What's the 22 doing? Is he saving fuel? Does he only take 2 tires? What's the deal? I don't know. I was just thinking the same thing. He might be saving fuel, but, I mean, we're plenty to go. All right, 10-4. Faster than the leader here. Just keep doing what you're doing. Next one behind you. Pass the straightaway back.
They were closing so dramatically on Joey Logano, they probably thought something was wrong or what, they're trying to figure it out. But Kyle Larson has found something, and he's just really been chewing into that lead. You can see he's running that straddling that last, or that next to the last seam, about a full lane, maybe a lane and a half lower than Joey Logano. I think he's really found, he's doing it on both ends of the racetrack.
And Logano is all the way up against the wall, looking for any grip he can find with the present handling of his car.
You see that gap now, almost a half a second.
That's third place, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Kyle, remember, starting last in this race after his team couldn't get the car through tech inspection prior to qualifying. Never made a qualifying lap. Started 39th. Was running in the top 10 within 7 laps, and 3 of those 7 were run under the yellow. Ran up and took the lead at lap 42, but has been struggling a little bit with the handling of his car at this point. No struggles at all for Kyle Larson. He is there for the lead on Logano.
He's running the line. He hasn't run in a while.
I'll tell you what, that is such a good feeling for Kyle Larson. I mean, to see that 22 car up there that's always winning these races and run him down and catch him at a young age like he is right now, pretty doggone impressive, guys. That's the most frustrating thing, too. When you catch him, you're about to pass him, and then you kind of get shook around, you get separated. But at that point, you know as a driver, I can do this again. I got pulled apart just then. Let me have another shot at him. Let me get my composure, and I'll run him and catch him again. And this time, hopefully, do it right and get past him.
Well, if for some odd reason Logano was saving any fuel, Larson's going to find out right now. Now that he's caught him, I can't see why he would have been, but Logano has picked up the pace here a little bit and is now equaling the lap times of Kyle Larson with 24 to go. Here's Larson again, looking low.
See, now Larson running that same line that he had been running the whole time he was catching Joey Logano, but he can't quite get him clear. I think he was going to try something a little different to see if he could make a quick pass, and it's not worked, so he's going to have to kind of go back to his rhythm.
Well, if Logano's going to stay on the top of the racetrack, the only shot that Kyle's got is to dive bomb him and slide past him, getting in their turn 1 or turn 3. Do a really good slide job on him.
He's got some experience at that.
Yeah.
Just usually not on pavement at 190 miles an hour.
I watched him in that sprint car dive it in there and do the slide job every race.
Now see something Logano doing, trying to take away that line of Kyle Larson's. Not going to work, doesn't look like.
Kyle gets down that back straightaway. He's going to have to break away from that 22 so he doesn't get real arrow loose. And you see Logano running him down the racetrack, so he can't do that. But he did it that time.
Oh, look out.
Man, he tried that slide job. Almost made it that time.
Side draft city here down the front stretch. Don't get carried away and bounce off each other at those kind of speeds.
Logano's roughing him up a little bit. He's really crowding him.
Well, Logano knows that it's going to be important for him to hold this lead if he can, because that clean air on the nose is going to help him. If he loses this lead, I'm afraid that Kyle Larson will drive away from him.
You're exactly right, Andy. If he loses that downforce on that nose of that 22, that's going to be a bad deal. The other thing that Kyle can't get suckered into is driving that car in and with that right side of his car laid up against that 22, because he'll get loose. Can't make a pass like that.
He's going to get wrecked if he tries to.
See that?
Tempers
are starting to fly.
Well, I really haven't seen either one of them do anything wrong. They're just racing hard. And I think, for Kyle Larson, he really needs that lane kind of right there.
Caution.
On the gas, caution's out. Caution's out, there you go. Caution's out, you're ahead of him the whole time.
40 car was off the pace, possible fluid from the 40 car, and there's that yellow flag inside the final 30 laps again here at California.
That was pretty decent timing, though, because those two were starting to get pretty hot at each other. Gives a little time right now to cool down a bit.
Yeah, before it heats back up
That's
again.
right.
Okay, we see the 9 car has moved his way up into the top 5. He's 4th. The one problem he has is he used up a set of tires when he had that little scrape up. The rest of these leaders have stickers right there. You can see for Harvick's team, they're getting ready to put those on. I just wonder if the 9 team maybe glued up that set that only had like 6 laps on them that they got in that scrape up.
20 to go. You almost got to use up that last set of tires, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely got to put the 4 tires on right now.
So what a race of changes here earlier. Kyle Busch running all the way up from the back, looking like might be another one of those days. Then the handling on his car goes away. Logano gets back out in front. Now Kyle Larson kind of comes from nowhere, from 4 seconds back, runs right up through to challenge Logano for the lead. And now the caution, the pressure on the pit crews, the pressure on the crew chief. Do you make a strategy call here and just try and take 2 to get
I'm not. I'm getting 4 tires. If I'm bringing my guy down right now, it's going to be 4 tires. Hoping this pit crew is going to do their job.
Even if you're the guy back 7th, 8th in line and haven't really had a sniff all day.
I understand what you're saying, and they could get some track position by doing that. I don't think it would be a winning strategy. It might get them a spot or 2.
And then the pressure flops back onto the driver for, just as we started talking about at the very beginning of the broadcast, the restart.
They got to do the restart right. They can't mess it up. They got to be aggressive. They can't be afraid to go to the top of the racetrack and peel around the top side. I know Kyle Busch should do that.
James Buescher, the free pass on this caution. 99 car in 15th place will come around the pace car as the leaders come to the opening of pit road. And here they come. Logano, Larson, Harvick, Elliott, and Busch, your top 5, Dave.
The good news for 4th place running Chase Elliott is that they do have a fresh set of sticker tires. They will put those on that car. The 42 of Kyle Larson, he was pretty happy with his race car. They'll just make a slight air pressure adjustment for him, and they'll get 4. As for Joey Logano, his car was loose on that run, so they're going to make a slight adjustment for Logano as he tries to hold off everybody on pit road after holding off Larson on the track. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick, too loose. Worse than the last run. They went back on the air pressure, filled him up with Sunoco fuel, 4 sticker tires. The last set, and away they go, Alan.
Look at the race off pit road.
Harvick's team gets 2 spots.
On a really bad stop for Chase Elliott. Loses 6 positions right when he did not need to.
And Logano's team lost 2.
Third to first. Kevin Harvick's pit crew. And Kevin getting it done. Doubling up for the restart. 1 lap to go here at California. Kevin Harvick is now the race leader. He's also our in-race reporter. See if we can squeeze a word with him.
Kevin Harvick, Rusty Wallace up in the booth. You got us? Kevin Harvick, Rusty Wallace up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Hey, buddy, it's get it done time right now. How's that car handling? You got a young Kyle Larson right there, and this guy's hungry for a win. You got enough car to outrun him?
I mean, the guy's had a great pit stop. That's what got us in track position. We've been a little bit off on the car, but we'll see what happens here.
All right, thanks for talking to us.
Kevin Harvick from third to first on the pit stops. Larson holding second, while Joey Logano went from first to third. Kevin, the Bakersfield native. One of the tracks where he has not found a way to victory lane in the Nationwide Series. And he'd like to change that right now. The home staters have not fared well here.
They're going to have a chance right here.
Not been the case on the Sprint Cup side, by the way.
That might be a change. I mean, Harvick's been hot this year, winning that Cup race in Phoenix, Arizona, and being really good in Cup practice today and good in this Nationwide practice. And you can tell from that in-race reporter conversation there, he's really focused, really ready to go and intent about what's going on right now.
So here's a look at the restart order as they're doubled up. The green will come out with 16 laps to go. Watch Logano from inside of row 2 in that 22 car. Don't think he's going to stay there long. This is going to be 3 wide fast. Look at this.
Look at Kyle Busch. Unbelievable.
And where did Kyle Busch come from? Look at that.
Restarted fourth. There he is, squeezing in front of Harvick for second, behind Kyle Larson, the race leader. Logano and Harvick just about clanging off each other. Drafting down the backstretch for third.
Well, look at
Matt Kenseth.
Oh, Matt just snuck up on the right rear of Joey Logano. Not sure if Logano saw him. Gave him just enough room.
Joey Logano in the 22 has led 96 of 135 laps today. He's down to 14 to get from fourth back to the race lead. For the lead, Kyle Busch looking low on Kyle Larson. Not quite there yet.
We saw Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch racing hard last week at Bristol. 1 and 2 finish. It's looking that way again right now, but Kyle Larson's probably thinking, oh man, not again. Here comes his 54. Can't shake this guy. Can't get rid of him. Always up in the front.
Look at this. Look at this. Ooh, Chase Elliott 9. Trevor Baynes 6. Going around Regan Smith, who struggled getting up off that corner. And up front, another try low by Kyle Busch.
I tell you, I used to hate that field. You see the second place car right up on your bumper, going in the corner, getting you loose, and get you out of shape.
Got him there.
And that's the same thing that just happened to Larson, but here he comes back again.
Larson leads the lap.
Use your judgment. I think you're clear.
Look
Check
at
it out.
that. It's
Bumper
unreal.
clear.
Wow.
Back down to the
Here we
bottom.
go again.
And boy, what messes him up when that 54 of Kyle Busch gets in a bumper going at the corner. It makes that front car so loose. And if Kyle can hold that off and be ready for it, he might have a shot.
I think Kyle Larson has the better car. Right now, Kyle Busch is just doing what he does. I mean, he put fresh tires on his car. He's hard to beat.
Whoa.
I think Kyle Larson's going to have to earn it.
Joey Logano just cleared Matt Kenseth for 4th place, but Kenseth is continuing to fight for that spot, keeping those guys from driving up and joining these top 3.
That last time by, Kyle Larson, quickest car on the racetrack. Kevin Harvick, 2nd quickest.
I don't think Harvick's done yet either. I've heard he closes these things out pretty well.
Is that right?
Yep.
Hey, that's a great shot. He really got that thing hooked in the bottom of turn 4 just then. You saw him catching that 54 car, Kyle Busch, sizing him up.
Larson eases away a couple of car lengths as Harvick goes after Busch for 2nd. Not quite there.
Boy, how big a day would that be for Kyle Larson if he can win this thing with Kevin Harvick behind him, Kyle Busch, 2 of the best. Here at the Auto Club Speedway, big, fast 2-mile racetrack. I know if I was Kyle, my heart would be just pounding out of my chest right now. I'm pounding right now. I'm not even driving a car.
It's pretty tense, isn't it?
It is intense. I love watching it. This is a great opportunity for a young kid to win his first race and not look into it. Just flat get it done and do it on the racetrack and beat the 2 best out there.
Really, how hard is that to focus on what you know you need to do without letting the pressure of knowing that the 2 of the best right behind you? How hard is that for a driver?
Well, he better be glad he's got 2 eyeballs because he's looking out the front with one and he's looking in the rearview mirror with the other. I can promise you that.
Harvick for 2nd on Kyle Busch. Can he squeeze in front? Not quite.
And Kyle Larson's loving this. When these cats are running side by side like this, it really slows them down.
Well, they're not losing a lot of ground to Kyle Larson. If anything, looks like they've actually closed back up on him.
And they actually gained a couple car lengths that last lap. Now Kyle Busch going to try the scraping the wall line. See if he can find some grip and some speed there. 8 laps to go. Kyle Larson trying to become just the 2nd driver to get his NASCAR Nationwide Series inaugural win here. The only other one, Hank Parker Jr., 2001. Kyle Larson was 8 years old.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, that was an impressive last lap for Harvick. Quickest guy on the track, and he was running side by side at that point. I think Harvick's got something left here.
Couldn't make it stick.
I'll tell you, they haven't lost an inch to Kyle Larson during all this.
And still the fight for 4th is 2.5 seconds behind them, so no threat to join in from either Logano or Kenseth.
See Harvick going for that dive bomb at turn 3. He's been really good there.
It's just unreal how far he can drive that car down in the corner, get down on the apron.
Oh, scraped it up.
There's a problem for Kyle.
Didn't slow him down any.
Heck, he's caning on Larson.
You got to give it to him, man. All 3 of these guys are getting it done. They're driving their brains out. Harvick seems like he's the best on the entry of turn 3, where he can drive it deeper in the corner than the rest. Let's see what happens this time. And if that 54 got damaged with that wall, bumping in that wall or not.
Yeah, a lot of times Kyle Busch makes it look easy winning these things. You can tell he's driving that thing right now.
Harvick squeezing around the lap car.
Well, looks like Larson may have got a piece of the wall that time.
Yeah, Kyle got loose then.
Kyle Busch leads that lap by a bumper. Lap traffic ahead, side by side for the race lead.
And that's almost a little too high for Kyle up there. But look at that run.
Oh!
Kyle Busch had to get out of the throttle.
Here comes Harvick. Might have been the key moment of the race right there with 5 to go.
I'm telling you what, guys, this is going to be a shootout between Harvick and Larson. Lap after lap, they've been 1 and 2, the quickest cars on the track. And now with Kyle Busch wounded a little bit, Harvick's got him in his gun sights.
Joey Logano has finally begun to make some ground up toward these front three. Does he have enough time to get there?
4 laps to go, and now Joey Logano's the fastest car in the racetrack.
Harvick driving in deep. Can he slide up in front with the race lead? Oh, not quite.
A good move right there. He knew he couldn't go side by side. That was going to kill him getting into 1.
3 to go.
Kyle Busch takes advantage back to second.
Well, let's see if Harvick gets him loose down in the 3 right now, doing that trick right there.
Look at how far he drives that car in the corner.
He's going to have to do a slide job now when Kyle Busch get back in front of him.
Not quite. Doesn't have him cleared. 2
Clear,
laps
2
to go. Can Larson hang on? Will Harvick or Busch find a way to clear him?
What a race we're seeing, guys.
Last few times, Harvick has really driven down hard into turn 3. See if he can do it again, and this time clear Larson.
He's a lot closer to Larson this time. We'll see if he can get him clear. Boy, he drives that car in the corner.
I don't think it's going to happen yet. Larson's
gonna be...
White flag right here, white flag. And clear,
lap
clear.
to go.
On your line.
All the fans here in California on their feet. Who's going to win it? Larson, Harvick, or Busch?
So Harvick just needs to be right there on the bumper when they get to turn 3. He's losing a little bit of ground now, though. Here comes Kyle Busch.
All right, there you go. Break him off. Back up to the wall. Back up to the wall. Nice and smooth. Good by 3.
I don't think Kevin can do it, guys. Larson's looking good.
Here it comes. Larson's going to clear him. He's going to do it. The first NASCAR Nationwide Series win for Kyle Larson at California.
Unbelievable.
Now
Nice work, boys. Nice work. Proud of all you.
That's the way to win one right there.
Man, you did a great job. You deserve it. Congratulations. You are a nationwide winner.
He looked like a Cup driver in that car. I know he's driving Cup this year, but not a lot. Only 4 or 5 races so far, but this kid earned that one, man. He earned it. He drove hard today. This Kyle Larson's a real deal.
Yeah, this is the first of many for him.
Great job, Kyle. Good job. Man, that was a lot of talking, but you did it, buddy. That was awesome.
Scott Cipodelli, the winning crew chief.
Now that's a little different.
Burn her down.
Put that wheel back on that car. Now, is he doing that without a steering wheel on that car?
Yeah, unless he's got an extra one.
I'll be darned.
I always heard he could steer one with the throttle.
Chip Ganassi and Phil Sabatis grooming this young man, and he's in victory lane.
Now you got to hand it to Kyle Busch too.
What a fight.
They really made Kyle Larson earn this one.
That's one, Andy, you can get out and say, you know what, I did it the right way.
Well, a California driver has finally won a Nationwide Series race here at California Speedway. And it is 21-year-old Kyle Larson, native of Elk Grove, who does burnouts in victory lane. How cool is that?
The first for everything. Look at that.
What a way to end the spring run to open the season for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Now, after a much-deserved weekend off for the teams, it's on to Texas, and then Darlington and Richmond, and the great racing continues. Join us at the track or on the ESPN networks Friday night, April 4th, the next race in Texas, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, the most recent two winners at Texas. And again, that comes up on Friday, April the 4th. On ESPN2, 8 Eastern Time, Final Four weekend in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex weekend as well. And we'll kick it off on Friday night with some great racing at the very fast mile and a half. Maybe Kyle Larson can make it 2 in a row. What a drive today. The youngster from California fought with two of the best in the business, including Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. On ESPN.com, the NASCAR page, you will see our post-race rundown, including interviews with Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and more of the top finishers, as well as more post-race coverage from here in California today. That's ESPN.com's NASCAR page for our post-race rundown. SportsCenter is next. Fabulous finish here in California today, and a 21-year-old youngster got his first win, Kyle Larson.